WhatsApp, I think it was.
Oh.
Fabio will come. Hello everybody, very good afternoon and welcome to Lamborghini The Real Race Super Trofeo Esports Qualification Race number 2. Speaking of 2, there's 2 of us here, me doing all the blabbering and that man waiting to do all the blabbering. So hello, Chaz Draycott, how are you sir?
Hello Paul Jeffrey, yes it's fantastic to be back mate, really looking forward to another event here with the Real Race Lamborghini Super Trofeo Esports. Should be a lot of fun. We're at a legendary circuit once again tonight. They've put together a hell of a calendar for us this season and I am super excited to get back into the action.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more, Chaz. It's been a while since we were last on air, and we got 4 drivers, they qualified, and then we're going to do it all over again. Everybody's been beavering away at home, haven't they? Trying to get a lap time in, trying to be part of it, and then we come here to Francorchamps. But before we do, Chaz, Moser Racing are our technical partners. You know a lot more about their gear than I do, but it's great to have them on board, isn't it, with us for the 2024 campaign.
Yeah, absolutely. It's lovely to see a manufacturer like Moser get behind this championship and get behind an event like this as well. You know, at the end of the day, there's so many wonderful companies out there involved in sim racing that can provide you with the tiniest little component to some of the main components like your wheels and pedals that you have on your sim rig at home. And Moser in the last couple of years have really come out of the woodwork and given us some incredible bits of kit. I've had one of their direct drive wheels before and it's one of the most clean cut and most beefy feeling sort of direct drive wheels that I've ever used. You know, they feel so sturdy and so well made, and we've actually got a wonderful little production from them as part of this broadcast actually.
I have to admit, dude, I said it at the top of the show that I've not got really much hands-on experience apart from at the expo touching a few things. They look awesome, don't they? I do like sim gear. I mean, I've had to pare it down behind me, so I'm really thinned it out, but I adore steering wheels and the bases and the rims, and they're a relatively new manufacturer, so it's pretty cool that they're on board with us for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just the fact that the kit itself is sort of really well built and really sturdy, you know, it doesn't feel flimsy in your hands. It gives you the trust when you're using it that, you know, you can put a bit of force through it as well and that it's not just going to snap in your hands if you try and fight against the wheel. But it's the fact it looks so awesome as well. So many of Moser's products have forged carbon on them and they just look so tidy as a result of it. I mean, you and I have both discussed forged carbon before. It's just one of the most beautiful materials man has ever made, and Moser really do a good job with it. There's lots of bright colours on the wheels as well. Sometimes you do see them where they're dumbed down slightly and they're just one solid colour, or just grey and white, just this sort of monochromatic look about them. But Moser's wheels always have this sort of fancy bright colour to them, and I think they really do look good because of that. And like I say, again, it's down to the confidence in the build quality that comes with something like that. And I'm very jealous of the wheels you have in the background. I don't have many wheels or wheel rims, and you see sort of streamers and broadcasters, don't you, where they've got like an entire shelf in the background full of them. I'm hoping one day to get to that point, but not at this moment in time.
Well, dude, I'm over 20 at the moment with wheel rims, so
oh my God.
I know, seriously, it's a problem. But yeah, really cool to have Moser with us. Really cool to have you folks at home with us as well, watching online. So big shout out from Chaz Draycott, myself, Paul Jeffrey, to you all for joining this broadcast. We're going to get racing, Chaz, in a few minutes' time, but I suppose it's a decent time to have a little conversation about what is Lamborghini The Real Race Super Trofeo Esports Series. Why is it exciting, and why do people at home want to be involved? Why are they doing these hot laps? It's because you can win big prizes. You can race in organised competitions, and the chance, Chaz, for these guys and girls to go out there to qualify and then to be in with a race where their performance dictates if they get through to the grand finale, it's quite an awesome opportunity, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And from the outside as well, if you're not in a position to compete, it's exciting for us to watch as well because it's such cutthroat racing. We've often sort of compared it to karting, Where in karting, you either win the race or you don't. It's as simple as that. You're either first, or out of the 30 karts that could be in it, you're last. You know, it's so cutthroat. And it's like that here. There's 4 positions in each of the qualifying races that goes through to the grand finale, and we've got a lot of different races here in Europe. There's different regions all over the world doing their own qualifiers as well, and it'll be whittled down to certain amount of drivers where they'll then all go against each other. So we've got the cream of the crop all going against each other at one point, which will bring us to the grand conclusion, and a driver will become part of the Lamborghini Squadra Corsa Esports team, and it's just a hell of a prize. And there's always a lot of other stuff to go with it as well, isn't there?
Yeah, it really is. Like you say, it's a hell of a prize. It's a fantastic competition anyway. But obviously we've talked about it very loosely. We'll talk about it some more over the course of tonight. But how about a nifty little video that explains all you need to know at home about how to be part of the Real Race Super Trofeo Esports Series.
The Real Race Super Trofeo Esports is here for its 5th edition. Open to drivers from Europe, NALA region and APAC region, the Real Race Super Trofeo Esports promises an exciting and unforgettable show. In Europe, drivers will qualify at 4 different tracks: Imola, Red Bull Ring, Spa and Barcelona. The top drivers from each session will move onto the qualification races together with the wildcards. European drivers who finish in the top 4 during the qualification races will compete in the regional final at the famous Jerez de la Frontera circuit. In North America, hot steam qualification begins at Watkins Glen on September 25th and September 27th, a battles for the APAC region. In both of these regions, the top 24 drivers from qualification will progress directly to their own respective online qualification and finals races. The NALA final will be on Sunday, October 13th, and 3 days later, on Wednesday, the 15th, will be the APAC final. European drivers will compete for the chance to win the overall championship and earn a spot in the Automobile Lamborghini Esports team. This final opportunity is open exclusively to European drivers at the Lamborghini World Finals in Jerez de la Frontera. Can't wait to see you guys on track.
Elephant out of the room straight away, Chaz. Italians say the Real Race Super Trofeo Lamborghini Esports Series so much cooler than we do, don't they?
Yeah, our accents up here in the north of England aren't quite as fancy as the Italian accent, are they? But no, they do a wonderful job. And David Snitzer, you know, his support for all of this as well, and to be a part of this is brilliant. It's great to have such a big name from the world of esports on board as well. And yeah, like he says, it's a great format. You know, there's so many angles to it as well. And for a lot of the drivers that we see, you know, there's some of them that may not from the first round have made it quite through yet, or, you know, finished 5th or 6th. Like I say, with that cutthroat nature of you're either through or you're not, we are going to see some repeat drivers that constantly qualify into the top 20 but don't quite make it through into that top 4. So I'm intrigued to see who we get week on week. Obviously we're going to look at entry lists in just a moment to see who we've got on circuit tonight, but I'm sure we're going to see some names here at Spa that we saw last time out at Imola.
Yep, and there you go, you said it there as well, Chaz. Spa-Francorchamps, completely different experience for the drivers, completely different skill set required from what we had last time round at Imola. So it's an opportunity for some of those drivers, and I noticed in my notes we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drivers returning for this one, which we'll talk about in a moment. Yeah. But it's an opportunity that if Spa clicks with you, this is your almost one opportunity as a qualifier to get through on a good track for you, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. You know, there's certain circuits in the calendar that might suit drivers better than others. There could be drivers here tonight that, like I say, with the ones that have come through from Imola, we may not have even looked at them last time out. You know, they might not have been standout performers to us. They might be right at the sharp end here. So it's really exciting to see how they progress from one circuit to the next, and whether there is a certain set of conditions even that suits them, depending on when the race is held. So there's a lot of angles to this, like we say, and that's going to be really the talking point over tonight. There's so many elements that move around in this series that the drivers have to try and adhere to. It's very tough, but I reckon it's good about now to have a look at the circuit itself, though, Paul, because Spa-Francorchamps, what a legendary place this is.
Let's jump on board with me for a hot lap around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit. We stay on the left, 5th gear, then we brake just before the 100-meter bars, and we go down to 1st gear. Here it's very important to not use the curb on the inside because it's very slippery, but on the exit we need to make sure that we use all the track even outside the curb on the left. Downhill for Eau Rouge, we put the 6th gear, but then we go again back to 5th, little tap on the brakes, just about hitting the inside curb, and then full power for the straight. So for this section it's very important to brake on the left, very close to the curb, but we are not going to use it as it's very slippery and we cannot do the same as in dry condition. 3rd gear, we use all the track here on the right, so we cut as much as we can, and we cut again also on the left. Little moment on the power, 3rd gear, little lift on the throttle, and then again full power for the next section. Turn 10 is very tricky, we need to make sure that we brake when the car is straight, hug the inside, make the car rotate, be patient, and then go again on the power. No-name corner, in this case I think it's very important to cut the inside to make again the car rotate, and try and avoid as much as you can the curve on the outside. So just try to put the power down just when you have the car straight. Pull on, down 2 gears, very hard to get on the power, so we will have a lot of moments, but eventually we can actually get out from the corner in a very fast way. Next section, we need to sacrifice the first right-hander to then come out from this left-hander very fast, and we need to use the green tarmac on the right. Down 2 gears for this right-hander. We are going to use the curb on the left, but not the green tarmac. And then again here, 4th gear, we need to use all the tracks going very close to the track limits on the left. So for the last section, it's flat out here. Then for this corner, we go down 1 gear, so 5th, little tap on the brakes, and then again full power. We need to make sure that we come out from this corner in a very fast way, because otherwise we will lose a lot of time. Bus stop chicane, 1st gear, it's very important to clip the apex here on the right, and then just about doing the same on the left. Get the car straight, not use the curb on the outside, and then full power again. That was an hot lap around the Francorchamps circuit. Hope you enjoyed.
A very tasty lap there from Mr. Tanitsa. Thank you very much for showing us around the beautiful 7-kilometre Spa-Francorchamps circuit. In a few moments' time, Chaz, we're going to have a look at the list of names of drivers that will also be embarking on this adventure for the next hour or so. And we were just speaking to ourselves before, while the lap was going, Chaz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, only 7 drivers have come back from round 1, so this is a very new looking fresh-faced grid we've got for the second qualifying race.
Absolutely, and the thing is as well is that they're all on a clean slate of not having raced against each other on this before, or at least in this competition anyway. You know, some of the names we do tend to see in this competition are names that have been in other leagues and other championships that we may have commentated on somewhere else, but you know, to have them all in this competition with each other in such a cutthroat manner, as I keep saying, it's going to be a really spicy one. The number 1 machine is Piotr Orlovsky with Max Florenz in car number 2. Simone Seminara is car 3 with Leonardo Passoni, and then Jakub Janowski in car 5. Nicola Desi in car number 6. And it's looking like a very, very Italian-dominated grid once again, Paul, but like we said, only a few of them returning this time round. Bonsignore, one of the real standouts.
Yeah, absolutely. Matias Tiskovic for Poland is 8th in the qualifier. He'll be car number 8. Then Tim Meckelholt is in 9th position. David Kolokchai. Again, we've seen that driver many times in the series over the years. Luca Becker was the 11th quickest in his qualification from Italy. And then Marco Vella, 12th quickest overall, and will be carrying number 12 throughout the course of this race.
Yes, and it's worth pointing out as well, the car numbers that you're going to see tonight is their seed number based on where they qualified leading into this event. So if you see car 24 near the front of the grid, you know that they've sort of worked beyond their qualification pace and done really well in the race. So it's always a good talking point for Paul and I. Just quickly going down this list on your screen now, we have Francesco Farina in car 13, Dino Piccioni car 14, Tommaso Pagliai in number 15, Nico Kumpu, another returnee from earlier in car 16, Alessandro Alfano, now there's a racing driver name, in number 17, and the number 18 machine is piloted tonight by Thomas Tasker, and he's got quite the tasker at hand, hasn't he, Paul?
Hey, very well played, my friend. Very well played indeed. And it does indeed have quite the task in hand, just as much as Maciej Kaschek in 19th position. And then from the Great Britain, the only UK driver in the field, James White, was 20th in the qualifiers. Leonardo Grigis will be 21st, and then Christian Butcher 22nd. Vincenzo Senatore is the 23rd quickest qualifying time, and then carrying car number 4, Jacopo Grillo, is 16th last time out at Imola, 24th in the qualifying time. So he's got a bit of work to do if he wants to try and trouble that top 10 over the course of the rest of today.
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing is, as well, I think the drivers that are a bit further down in the list that just made it into that top 24, they carry a little bit of an ability with them to be able to surprise drivers ahead. You know, they'll all look at each other and they'll go, oh, you know, I should be ahead of this guy because he's number 10 and I'm number 5. You know, they'll see it as, I was quicker than you in qualifying, so I know that I've maybe got a bit of a hot lap capability advantage over you. But it just comes down to how you play the game. You know, you've got to look after the tyres, look after the car over the course of this race as well. We spoke to some of the drivers at the end last time after Imola, and they said that the tyres were gone. They attacked too early in the race. We've got to think about that over the course of this one, because Spa is not easy on tyres either, is it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a very difficult circuit at the best of times. We saw a little bit of weather on our screen when we were looking at the lap from David Tanitsa. I'm seeing the pictures, and bear in mind, folks at home, I have no extra information. This is the first time I'm seeing it, but it does look, for now at least, Chaz, that we're going to be starting in dry conditions, which I dare say is more than a fair share of sweaty brows on this racetrack. Thankful that it's not raining.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Spa-Francorchamps is almost completely synonymous with just wet weather in general, isn't it? You know, it was like the 1998 Belgian Grand Prix happened, and everyone got the idea that it only ever rains at Spa in Belgium. That's the only place on earth where it always rains. But, you know, it's a little bit cloudy, a little bit gloomy here. It's only 4 minutes past 4 in the sim, so it's not really supposed to look that dark. So it's more down to the weather itself that is causing the current lighting conditions. The headlights reflecting off the surface. It's a little bit greasy, but like we've said, completely dry for the time being. It's Tiskiewicz on pole position with Seminara on the front row with him. Then it's Florenz and Passoni. You can see though, Tasker, I said he had the task at hand, and Grillo as well, 18 and 24. Up there inside the top 10, Paul. Great stuff from them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's worth bearing in mind, I think, Chaz, and for the folks at home, it is a hot stint qualification session that these drivers have to go through. So it's not your individual lap, it's a set of laps. I think it's 3 or 4 laps here at Spa-Francorchamps, if memory serves me correctly. So very, very easy to lose significant amounts of time and rock up on the timing screens. 23rd, when your last lap was the quickest one altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. It's more about consistency just than the one lap, which is quite important. Because at the end of the day, you know, these drivers, they get to have a chance at being in one of the greatest esports teams in the world, racing for a manufacturer in the esports scene, and they want consistency out of these guys. That's why we don't have, you know, 15, 20-minute sprints. A lot of GT racing is synonymous with longer races, you know, an hour technically being the sort of shorter races that you will see. So they need that consistency, and it's one of the best places to get it. You have to qualify with consistency and then go through even more challenges of that consistency in a race like this that is an hour long. So yeah, I think it's a great format to at least pick out the right level of talent with these drivers in the right scenario.
And that, Chaz Draycott, and the good people watching from home, is exactly why we love these sorts of races. This year, last year as well, Imola last time around, the whole of 2023 have produced some absolute crackers. You never know exactly what's going to happen till the checkered flag. Chaz, top 4 or bust for all of these drivers. Predictions for T1?
Oh, I think Tiskiewicz is going to have to be careful here. They're now going to go 2 by 2 into the first couple, well, into the last couple of corners now to line up for the start. Tiskiewicz is going to be on the inside line, so he's going to have to keep it nice and tight, because if Seminara can go with him and keep it level, Seminara is going to try and carry it all the way around the outside here. And you've got a decent advantage from outside there because you can carry the momentum, so let's see.
So then, here we go, folks. Don't go anywhere. The real race, Super Trofeo Esports. Qualification race number 2 is about to go under green flag conditions. Who will be the 4 that make it through to the grand finale? We're at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. The lights are red at the top of the gantry. The cars are 2x2 formation down into La Source. And I've done what I always do, Chaz, and forgot to start at the other part of the track.
Yeah, I was doing that as well. I was thinking, oh, we're flipping out, they've not gone. I was like, even the lights in my office are green, but these ones are red. Still, Tiškević round the first, what is normally the first corner at La Source, had a bit of a gap there, but I think everyone else was expecting him to go. Let's now get it finally going, shall we?
Yeah, here we go then. Lamborghinis 2x2 at Spa-Francorchamps of a finer sight you have ever seen. You will do in a moment because it's going to go green, and we're going to be racing up Eau Rouge for the very, very first time. Mateusz Tiškević from Simone Seminara. The lights are green, the cars get loud, the drama gets high, and we are go at Spa-Francorchamps. All very clean for the first few corners, but Chaz, here's the danger zone for all of these drivers.
Yeah, easily for the back end of these cars to step around. I think we have lost a driver already. Someone's off at the bottom of Eau Rouge, but it's side by side for the race lead. Seminara going round the outside into Les Combes. You can usually get the move done there because it gives you the inside line for the second part of the chicane. There's contact between the two of them. Seminara goes straight on. Tiškević has the inside line. Seminara's cut the chicane. He'll have to give that back, but trying to come through now as well is the number 2 machine of Florenz, I believe it is. He's got Persone and Bonsignori behind him, but Tiškević will have to give that back. He'll feel a bit hard done by that. Sorry, it'll be Seminara that's got to give it back. Tiškević, I think, just ran a little bit wide on the way in there. It wasn't anything too untoward, but boy, it was just hard fighting for that race lead in the opening moments.
Our stewards were hoping for an easy day, but immediately, right at the first braking event, we've got something to take a look at. Tiškević, though, as you say, will be a little bit frustrated by that one, I'm sure. Seminara has got a decision point to make. Is he going to give the place up, or will he rely on his steward's decision a little bit further down the line? Max Florenz that we're looking at under big pressure in 3rd position. Persone is the driver behind car number 4. Position number 4, and remember, these are the cars that will currently qualify for the grand finale at the Jerez de la Fontana circuit in November. So big reward, but a lot of risk involved to get into that top 4 in these early stages.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure on these drivers. That's the thing. There's only specific positions will get you through. I mean, at the end of the day, they need to remember that regardless of if they don't make it through into the positions they need, it's all about how you conduct yourself and how you perform as a sportsman as well in these events. We've seen it before where there's been a little bit of untoward driving, as there's a move there by Tasca around the outside. That is delightful in towards the bus stop, really close side by side with Bonsignore in the number 7 machine. He tried to do what you can do at Les Combes, where you carry enough speed around the first part of the chicane, it puts you on the inside for the second bit. He's got to be careful though, because Jacopo Grillo wants a piece of this. He's made it 3 wide into La Source. He wants to go down the inside, and oh no, it's a bit of contact between the number 10 of Kolocaj and the 18 of Tasca. Oh, there's contact in front. The 24 is turned around. He moved one way, then the other. That was really strange, though. The sort of shovel nose of the Lamborghini picking the other one up off the floor.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. Some great racing up to that point. That also bunches the field up now for the run up through Eau Rouge, over the top of the hill and into the long back straight on the run down to Les Combes. Great opportunity for all of these drivers to use the slipstream to good effect, but we've got all cars trying to squabble for a little bit of racetrack. Kolocaj, that we see at the back of the shot there as well in the black machine, can't find enough real estate on this occasion. Looks one way and then the other. Kolocaj Alfano is the one that's defending, and for good measure, he's trying to find a way past Tasca as well. This is very bunched up, pack racing, Chaz, in these early stages, and the amount of danger for these drivers. We're looking at Tasca running a little bit deep. Kolocaj facing the wrong direction as well in the background, Chaz.
Yeah, I think it was it Bucha that came down the inside there? Kolocaj was just clipped from the right rear. I think somebody tried to make a bit of a send of it down into what was Bruchet, and it just went horribly wrong. Funnily enough, whoa! Who is that? Is that a 22? That is Bucha. It was him, actually, that was involved earlier as well. It was the dark green car, so maybe Karma has bitten him in the backside quite quickly there, because he went way too deep into Bruchet, kissed the car in front, turned them around, and then he's had his own drama further down the hill. I was going to say the number 1 car of Orlovsky is involved in that there, and he started way further down the order, so he's made a little bit of progress so far, but everybody's fighting for every inch of this circuit. We pointed this out at Imola, didn't we? And we will continue to point this out over the course of the campaign, but it's not just the top 4 positions that people battle for. They battle for every inch of this circuit, regardless of whether they're in 9th or whether they're in 21st.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, it's a shop window for these drivers, not only for the audience at home, but also for Lamborghini themselves, for other brands that may be watching. So it's vital that you give the best show of yourself as possible. Not only being quick, not only scoring the results, but being fair and hard and a respectful racer for good measure. Leonardo Pisoni, that we're looking at in 4th position at this moment in time, still harrying the back of Max Lorenz ahead, not quite close enough to make an overtake. These 4 front cars, very intelligent driving at this stage. Don't harry each other too much. Don't hassle each other too much. Just break clear of the Bonsignori-led pack behind, and then you can fight out the podiums to your own effect further down the road. So, intelligent bit of driving. Doesn't make for spectacular viewing, but it is an intelligent bit of driving nonetheless from the 4 of these in the front.
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, they know that they are the 4 places that will get them through. If you've got a bit of a gap behind you like Pisoni has right now, even if he catches up to Florenz, sure, part of your racing driver mentality you'll think, you know what, I could actually make a move on him, I could have a go because we've got some daylight behind. But at this early stage of the race, you don't know how it's going to develop, you don't know how the car's going to feel later on. You can't risk it too much. You have to just take each lap as it comes and just be careful with it in the opening stages. Maybe a little bit later, you know, think, oh right, you know, we've got 10 seconds behind us, I might go for a little send up the inside if I'm quick enough, or just have a little look here and there just to try and unnerve him slightly, because while it may not make a difference whether they go through in 1st, 2nd, 3rd or 4th, you might just want a bit of the bragging rights to go with it, you know, because at the end of the day, if the right people are watching, it'll show them that you're willing, regardless of the time in the race, to make the moves that count for a specific position. And whether that comes here or in a championship where points mean more and you'll get more for finishing 3rd instead of 4th, for example, it's the right time to do it and it's the right time to show it off.
Yeah, could not agree more. Alessandro Alfano, that we're looking on the big screen at this moment in time, 9th position for the number 17 machine, so overachieving in terms of where he qualified through the hot stint qualification, but still not quite where he needs to be to continue his forward journey. Bit of a reminder to everybody watching at home, a big hello again to you all. This is a 1-hour race. There is no pit stop. There is no requirement for any of these drivers to go down pit lane. It is very much a sprint to the end. As Simone Seminara, Chaz Draycott, starting to come under pressure. Remember, he skipped earlier on a little bit of racetrack to give himself a bit of an advantage over the chasing pack. Matthias Tiskovic, he's now closed onto the back of this one, and this is looking like a very firm conversation is in the works over the course of the next couple of corners.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? I was wondering whether Seminara would have it in the back of his head to sort of keep an eye on the gap behind the pair of them and say, look, fair enough, I went straight over that chicane the first time round. Yeah. Now we've got some daylight. I'll just let you have that back, you know, just to play it safe, just to be sure. But at the same time, there was contact involved. He may feel hard done by and be like, no, you know what, I was only over there because you hit me. It may not have been either of the driver's fault, but at the time, in your head as a driver, you'll be thinking, no, this guy hit me off the road. I went over there only because he caused contact with me. Why should I give him a place back for that? As Tasker goes deep into Lecombe there. He may give away a position with that one for Meckelholt behind him. That's a racing driver name as well, isn't it? In the number 9 machine. We often stumble across them every so often and they just roll off the tongue so well. But Tim Meckelholt certainly looking a bit more racy. And Tasker, again, just going deep there. Whoa, tries to close off the line on the exit. Doesn't quite work for him, and Meckelholt's going to go for the cutback, although he's all over the curb. Easy to just mount that curb too much, spin up the rears, spike the revs, and have to back out of it. A good battle going on here, though. Tasker does not want this right now. He wants to go chasing after Pagliai in front. At this current moment, he's not got the chance to do that. Kumpu with a drive-through penalty, unfortunately. It's not going well for him at the moment, then, with that lingering over him.
So there we go then, almost 9 minutes of 60 in the book. There are battles throughout the field, not least of which is this one at the front of the pack. Matthias Tiskovic started in first position, got a little bit elbowed out in the aggression of the opening few corners, currently runs in second, but looks very interested indeed at the rear of Simone Seminara's car. Matthias Tiskovic, of course, a storied driver in the world of esports and sim racing. We've seen him pop up many a time in different competitions. We know he's a very quick driver. He's never quite managed to secure the title, I think it's fair to say, that his skills deserve. So he's definitely should he make it through this race, one of the drivers that you want to put a little pin in and keep an eye out for during the course of the whole The Real Race Super Trofeo Esports competition. But that's 50 minutes away though yet, Chaz. There's plenty of racing still to do, and there's plenty of opportunity for this to go very wrong indeed for any one of these drivers if they just take their eye off the ball for a split second.
Yeah, that's the thing, you know, it's easy to focus on your competitors and the people around you and what they're doing. At the same time in doing that, you know, I mean, one of my worst traits when I'm sim racing is that I'll think that I can talk and drive at the same time and do whatever, but I'm very easily distracted as a driver, and if I just look at a bit of information on my screen for more than a moment, you know, I'll realise I've just drifted offline slightly or just made a little bit of mistake or gone deep on the brakes. As here is Tiskovic trying it on Seminara, there's contact between the two, and oh dearie me, it was very unnecessary on the exit of Les Combes towards Malmedy, and I think Tiskovic, I mean, given benefit of the doubt, just misjudged the gap that was off the back of Seminara there. As, oh no, it's getting messy down there into Bruchet now as Meckelholt throws one up the inside of Seminara. But that was very unnecessary, I think, Paul. He didn't have to push that hard for the move. I imagined at some point Seminara will get told to at least relinquish that. But the two of them had a gap on everybody else. He didn't need to put that pressure on him.
Yeah, I hope you're feeling hungry, Charles, because there's platefuls of stupidity to be found all over the racetrack, and I'm afraid that was, yeah, it was unnecessary, that move at the front of the field. That was, as you say, they had a gap. There's nothing to really gain per se apart from the bragging rights and the one-up on your rival. And if you're going to make a move in that position, it's clear that Tiskovic had the pace advantage at that stage. You make sure it's 100% nailed on, that this, barring some kind of strange happening, is going to be a done deal. Unfortunately, that's cost Seminara significant amounts of time. He's back on the racetrack, but he's in 7th place, Chaz. 7th, and he's a healthy chunk of change away from getting back into that top 4 conversation. So if you wanted to know how fast Simone Seminara is and how he drives under the red mist, I dare say this next 48 minutes is going to be something worth studying.
I was going to say, I imagine he is about the same colour as his car right now in trying to get back these positions and claw back the time. He's got Tasker and Pagliai next up the road. He's only a second behind Tasker, and to be fair, Tasker's only then 7/10 behind Pagliai, so it's not like he's got a mountain to climb and he's only got a short amount of time to do it. He's still got 48 minutes of this race left, but you've got to wonder whether the car received any damage as a result of that contact, because he got hit from the rear, and the diffusers and the rear aerodynamics of these Lamborghinis can be oh so important because most of the weight is over the rear end with it being mid-engined. But you've also got to think about the downforce on the front of the car as well, because I think he did take a slight kiss into the barrier, and these things are known for having such a pointy front end, not just physically but in terms of the way they handle as well. They've got quite a short nose, these Huracans, so they really do rely a lot on the aero at the front being on point, so to speak. So you do wonder whether Seminara will have any issues with that. As Grieg is going way deep into Les Combes, does the right thing there, doesn't try and make the apex at the second part of the corner, otherwise he'd just been cutting drivers off. He's slightly out of shape through Malmedy as well, and Vella goes through in car number, actually no, that was Orlovsky in car number 1. Vella is just in there behind him right now, I believe. No, I do apologise. Vella is just in front in the 12 car. They just swapped round literally just as I looked at the numbers on screen. My apologies. It's 12, 21 and 1. It's the same digits. That's my excuse.
Indeed. I mean, the upshot of it is, though, Grigis is under a lot of pressure at this moment in time. Couple of mistakes. This is what we spoke about only 5 minutes or so ago, talking about the fight at the front of the field. Spa-Francorchamps is a circuit that really does bite you if you make a mistake. The Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2 car that we're driving, less grip available to you than you would have in a GT3. The car's a lot more mobile on its tyres, and that kind of wears the car out as well. Wears the tyres out a little bit, wears the driver out a little bit more than perhaps you would get in a more traditional GT3 race. That's going to start showing up weaknesses on this circuit, Chaz. This car is going to, more so than we normally see in different competitions, this is really going to bring the balance of the car to the fore as Grigis has a little look, decides that's not going to happen on this occasion, and then tries again at the bus stop, sends it, forgets to brake, misses his spot, almost takes the car out in front. Grigis wants that position, but he also needs just to calm things down a little bit, because that was almost very silly indeed, but he got away with it.
I think Orlovsky caught him out by braking early there, you know, because Butcher, not too far back, went absolutely flying as well. I think Orlovsky tried to sort of brake early there to catch him out. I'm not saying he brake checked him, but it was certainly earlier than I originally expected him to do that. It's a bit of a strange one, but luckily, quick reactions from Grigis, regardless of what caused it. He managed to avoid the back of the very subtle neon green Lamborghini Huracan in front of him. But a good battle going on, as mentioned, down here in 16th and 17th positions. Not necessarily for any form of qualification. They're way out the window at the moment, but at the end of the day, you've got to put everything in that you can on every single lap, and Grigis wants to prove a point here and get back down the inside of Orlovsky and say, you may have caught me out there, I'll catch myself out now, as he goes early into Le Com. Over the curb and over the grass. That's not going to feel fantastic in a car like this. But you're absolutely right, though. Speaking of a car like this, you know, these cars are in their own specification. They don't fit GT3s or GT4 categories. It's like a cup class car, sort of in between. There's no rule book. Well, there is no rule book for what these cars adhere to, and they are mighty, mighty machines. Lamborghini wanted to make their own one-make championship with their flagship car, and they really have done a smashing job of it. The Huracan is a great machine anyway, and as if they could make it look any more spiky and any more evil, Paul, they've turned it into this Super Trofeo Evo 2 version of it, and it's just such a glorious monster. It's like the sort of car that you draw as a kid, isn't it, with all the angles and all the flicky bits on it. It's so cool.
Yeah, it's an incredible piece of engineering, fantastic in real and virtual form, of course. And of course, the reason these guys and girls are racing is to get to the on-site grand finale in November, Jerez de la Fontana circuit, the World Lamborghini World Finals. There'll be a whole ton of beautiful Italian machinery. There'll be a whole lot of noise and smells of petrol and fumes and excitement to be had. And right in the middle of it, well, that will be our real race Super Trofeo Esports Stars. So, real big opportunity to see these cars in the flesh in the very, very, very best setting possible. And while you're at it, have your own little side quest to try and become an official Works Lamborghini eSport driver and completely change your career and your life and all the opportunities that come with it. So it's a really big thing, as well as being a racing adventure. Simone Seminara, that we're looking at now, over the top of Eau Rouge, big time sideways from the 15. That is an easier pass as you're likely to see. So Simone Seminara now up into 15th position. Pagliai just gone behind us in the yellow machine, so Florenz next one up the road. And it's I didn't think I'd be saying this one, Chaz, but we're only a few minutes after the incident that we saw, and Seminara is dragging himself very much back in contention. Not over yet.
Absolutely, yeah. He's 3 seconds behind Florenz right now. He's putting in the hard yards at this stage of the race. Obviously, he wants to do it at this stage when the field is a little bit closer together. It naturally spreads out over the course of the race here as everyone gets into a rhythm with their own pace. We look here at Thomas Tasca. He's now got Pagliai in front of him after that mistake from Pagliai. He's going to want to take advantage because the number 15 will be trying to get back into a rhythm here, and you know, he'll remain shaken a little bit by the car letting go of him. It'll knock his confidence for a couple of corners here, and maybe even half a lap or so. I mean, then again, I've never had confidence in a car I've driven, so I'm not sure that I can really speak from experience. But Tasca all over the back of him. We've seen a few times already though, Paul, haven't we? I mean, you know, these drivers know the sim inside out, but they're very confident with how close they can get to the back of the car in front, aren't they? Even though this nose swoops really far down on this Lamborghini, they are so close to the back of each other, it's terrifying.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a fantastic reference of the skill of the drivers that are on display here, isn't it? Because, I mean, these aren't, we often commentate over the pro drivers, so to speak, the works paid professional esport drivers, and you expect an incredibly high level. But to see that these are drivers of all skills, ages and experiences that have qualified for taking part, for the most part, putting on a fantastic show. Jacobo Grillo in the 12th position so far for him. So good race up to this moment in time. Gets a little bit squirrely over the curb. Does well to gather it back together again without Kolokchai getting involved. But just to go back to the point, Chad, the racing, the trust they've got amongst each other, that they're skillful enough to be able to pull off good, close, clean racing is always gratifying to see, and it often means that we get some real ding-dong battles like this particular one that is, and I say this lightly, only for 11th position and 10th position ahead. Really impressive.
Yeah, it's great, you know, regardless of where these guys are in this field. The quality of it is just unreal, you know, they're some of the finest in the world. So many people try and qualify for these events, and only 24 of them go through to this stage, and then only 4 from this race will go through to the grand final. A great trio here of Bevka, Grillo and Kolochai all together. Kolochai looks to the middle now that the car's around him. Oh, try and move around, and Kolochai made that work somehow. I don't know how he ended up gaining a position from that, but that was mighty, mighty scary on the way into Les Combes. Suddenly it becomes a quartet, and I think that, to be honest, Bevka's going to be thinking, how on earth have you guys done that and gotten around me there? I mean, it may be him that's in the ice-coloured car, but that was ice cool from Kolochai, wasn't it, through there?
Oh, beautiful, yes. Absolutely great bit of driving there. Faith and trust. Kolochai has another opportunity now. Guerrillo goes very, very deep into No Name. Kolochai has the outside line. He's going to try and nip the car back to the apex, I dare say, in the middle of this section of corners. Yes, there we go. Tries to hold it a little bit tighter. That'll give him a launch off the corner. But then, again, these are spec cars. These are super Trofeo cars. Everybody's got the same bit of machinery underneath them. Can't quite, on this occasion, leverage that into a run, but Grillo now knows he's in a battle. Jacopo Grillo in 10th position, very much on the defensive, and I do think Kolochai, we know he can overtake, we know he's quick, and we know he's got a bit of a point to prove in this one, and he's got this one pretty much sealed up. It's just a matter, Jazz, of finding a Lamborghini-shaped gap in which to insert one's car into the inside of.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this is one of the key scenarios where a driver may see the number of the driver in front of him and think, you know what, there was a big difference between us in terms of where we qualified for this event. Jacopo Grillo, the highest numbered car in the field, number 24, he was the last one to get through. He was right on the brink, and he's hoping that this race isn't going to be a reflection of that, and he's right up there in the top 10 at the moment, actually occupying the spot that Kolochai got during the qualifiers with the hot stint, as in the background as well, Bevka having to defend from Senatore in the 23 machine. This is the car that literally qualified just in front of Jacopo Grillo. Back down the hill they go once more, and really, with it being spec cars like you say, Paul, them all being in the same machine, it comes down more to the driver, which is the best way to go about it. You know, it's not a championship that's full of different manufacturers and different cars that have their own strengths and weaknesses. It's all down to the people behind the wheel, maybe a little bit of the setup as well, but that's how you manage a race. You know, that comes down to one of the elements that the team will want to look for in the drivers that they choose, as that is a lovely move by Senatore around the outside into Les Combes. That was what I was talking about earlier on, where the car can just sort of glide around the outer part of the chicane. As long as you're side by side with somebody, it forces the driver on the inside to stay tight, so they already compromise their speed. If you can get them to do that, you've got them buried by the second part of the chicane. Brilliant move.
Yep, wonderful bit of driving from the Italian there, as we're looking now at Thomas Tasca in 6th position. There he is, car number 18, the orange and blue machine. Pagliai is just ahead in the yellow car. This is 5th and 6th position. Remember, these aren't in the positions that are going to get them through to the final, but they'll be the first of the drivers that can possibly look into something should there be drama further up. Seminara, by the way, has moved up into that 4th position, so Seminara back into the qualifying spots. Thomas Tasca fancies buying into this one as well, trying to find a way past, but Pagliai at this moment in time is doing a good job holding off that green, that blue and orange machine behind. Look at the concentration, Chaz, on the picture-in-picture. Thomas Tasca, from the darkness of the void behind, comes through steering wheel in hand and fancies a way past.
I thought he was giving us hand signals for a moment there. I've not seen somebody actually sort of... So, it seems like he's holding the wheel quite high up, doesn't he? I mean, you know, when you do your driving test, they always say 10 to 2, don't they? With your wheels, your hands quite high up on the wheel. Only one finger on the flappy paddle. Usually you see drivers go for sort of a full hand, but seems to be really leant forward into that, rather than the sort of laid-back position that you'd get in a sim rig usually. Really putting his arms into it, which is quite interesting to see, you know. Very, very interesting to see. We've had a lot of drivers on cameras before where they, you know, either at full arm's length straight out, and I don't understand how they do that for an hour-long race, or they're a little bit further back, you know, trying to keep it a bit more relaxed. But Thomas seems like he's right up against that wheel. I can't really go on and on and on about it for so long without repeating myself, but it's just intriguing to see.
Yeah, it really is. Everybody has their own sort of comfort spot, and that's what's also interesting. I'm talking too far into the future as there's a great race in front of us. But of course, when we go to Jerez, that's going to be a case of using the equipment provided by the organisers, so you don't have the comfort zone that you have at home. A little bit of an update while this one's going on, by the way. Incident between cars 3 and 8 on lap 1 has been deemed a racing incident. Also, cars 10, 6 and 20 on lap 1, no further action. And then cars 16, 19 and 20 on lap 1, there's a drive-through penalty for car number 20, which is James White, who's currently serving said penalty and plummeting to the bottom of the field, unfortunately for James.
Yeah, there's been a few drivers not having the things go their way in the early stages of this race. I say early stages, Paul, as if we're not almost half an hour of the way through. What? It feels like we're on like lap 3. But we've actually had 10 laps in the books now from the leader, Tishkovic, and then Passoni, then Bonsignori. Seminara is up to 4th, by the way. Seminara is in that 4th spot, ahead of Pagliai.
You don't listen to my commentary. You don't listen to my commentary,
No,
Chaz. I said that.
I was just trying to add. Yeah, sorry. I was just trying to add this up because I was going through and I was thinking, hang on, have I missed something? And I absolutely have. I'm so sorry, Paul. You know what it's like. You try and look at timing and you try and look at one thing and the other. You just smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave. Yeah. So just in case you didn't hear Paul's commentary either, everybody, Seminara is now up into 4th position.
But I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. Has he dislodged somebody from that place, or has there been a drama for someone that's knocked him a little bit further down the running order? I don't quite bring to mind who's holding on that 4th, was it?
Florenz.
He's into retirement 3 laps previous, so
that might be why we missed it.
Probably so, yes.
Because that can happen almost instantly. If it's a disconnect or something, they can fly down the order, and there's no, I'm not slating ACC here, but there's no animation of them moving. The names will just swap places, so there's no sort of, it won't show them sliding down the timing screen or moving up. So really not sure what's happened to Florenz there, but that's a massive, massive shame. Hopefully we can get some sort of confirmation on that. But yeah, Florenz losing all of his places and being shown as in the pits.
And it's a difficult thing for a driver like Max Florenz or anybody that suffers from that particular situation. Remember, it's not like real racing where you always say, oh, in real racing you get a DNF, that's part and parcel of it. But most of the time these are professional, established drivers. Yes, they've lost points for their championship, it's disappointing, whatever. But for these guys, and in particular for Max, that was up there in 4th position, they were in a place where they'll get a ticket to fight for a life-changing opportunity, and to lose that opportunity through no mistake that you've made on the circuit, unless you've run out of fuel or something daft, it really is difficult, and it's very, very difficult as a human to kind of accept that one, come to peace with it, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and then go again, isn't it? It's really, really challenging. I do feel very, very strong. Sorry for Florenz there.
Yeah, it's awful, absolutely awful in a competition like this. You could just see a message there a moment ago. Cars 16, 19 and 20 were in an incident together on lap 1. There's been a drive-through penalty given to car number 20 for an unsafe rejoin. I can tell you that car number 20 is actually right down at the bottom of the order, is it not? James
Seriously?
White.
Where have you been for that the last 10 minutes, dude?
I'm so sorry.
That was the follow-on bit after Seminara gets to
I keep looking at timing here. I'm trying to pick up laps because there's certain laps that are completely apart. Like Senatore was a 1.5 seconds quicker than Colocci in the last lap. I was trying to see if anyone was standing out. I'm so sorry, Paul. You deserve so much better than that. I'm so sorry.
It's because everything's happening at such a pace that we can't even keep on top of it with each other. Never mind the on-track, and that's why we love this championship, folks. There is something happening all the time, and that's what's so good, Chaz. That's why we had it in Imola, and Imola, granted, is a much more difficult track to pass on, as Colocci goes to the inside on the source, uses his car as a bit of a brake as well, but Grillo will be #surprised that car was alongside, and Colocci gets the deal done, I think, for the drag up through to Eau Rouge.
He absolutely does, but wow, there's a move down the inside. There was supreme confidence there. He said, all right, leave the door open then, I'll kick it off its hinges. Watch this. Absolutely battering rammed his way through. But to be fair, I don't think he made much contact. I think Senatore dived out of the way. Now looks to the inside in towards Lecom, and Colocci stays strong in the middle of the road. Tries not to give him much room. The two of them make contact on the way in. That was 6 of one, half a dozen the other there. Senatore running a little bit wide. Kalotrai trying to squeeze him to the inside line. There's, in the background, I think Grillo's got a little bit excited at the fact that he could gain some places here, and he's jumping around all over the gravel on the exit of Malmedy, and they live to fight another day. Scary moment there, though, as you go on the brakes in these cars. That's the worst time to make contact. You want to run a really rearward brake bias in these cars to get the rotation out of them. If you have contact while you're doing that, it's just going to over-rotate even more. So, yeah, not an easy moment that for either driver, but they showed their talent level by continuing to keep it on the road.
Yep, nice bit of squabbling, of course. Drive-through penalty for Senatore in 12th position on the timing screen, so he's going to be out of that one very, very soon. Looking at the number 5 car at this moment in time, down in 17th position, so real struggle for a car that was 5th quickest during the course of the hot lap qualification positions, and Janowski confused me a little bit there for Jakob on the timing stream, but it is, of course, Jakob Janowski currently in that 17th position and having himself a very interesting fight with Grigas ahead, although 16th and 17th will not be what either driver would have been expecting coming into this one.
No, definitely not. And this is the thing, as a driver, you've got to set your expectations as high as possible. You know, they've got to have supreme confidence coming into a competition like this. And we have seen it before that drivers do come in and they have their qualifying times in the bag and they're a little bit overly confident with it. You know, you think, oh wow, look, I've qualified 5th, I'm faster than all of these other people, and then they'll go into the race filled with that confidence and it's too much and they'll overdo it. And it's a massive shame, because obviously that's the image that you give off as a driver then, and that's the impression that they don't just leave on their competitors, but they leave on us two cretins up here in the commentary box as well, and we'll rib them for it until the sun sets. But it's just about composing yourself as a driver in every aspect of this competition. And sometimes, you know, we see people, as we have in this one. I mean, look at Tasker, for example. You know, qualified 18th on the entry list, may not have been one to look at for a lot of people, but he's right up there, and he's just on the outer brink of being able to make it through.
Yeah, fabulous stuff here, by the way. Janowski decided that this is the time to pull the trigger for the run up the hill. You don't want to be too close. Aerodynamic, a load on the front of the car will be reduced, and there you can see actually he's just breathed off the throttle a little bit. Doesn't want to be too close to Grigas. That's compromised him for the run down the Kemmel Straight into the Lecombe section of corners in a few moments' time. But shut up, Paul, because news just in: Stefano Bonsignore in 3rd position has a drive-through penalty. Goodbye qualification ticket for Bonsignore.
Absolutely.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Big change at the top end, and that will give Pagliai the position now up into 4th place. Seminara, well, he cements a position even further inside the top 4. No, Chaz, I've got, even our producers just said, oh dear, at that one. I've just got splinters off the bottom of the barrel that are scraped to try and get that joke out. Apparently as well, thanks very much to Mike. He said that he's tried to have a look at what happened to Florenz, but he just came into the pits and didn't leave. I think he got a track limits penalty or something, and knew that that would be enough to throw him out of contention, which is a huge shame. Wasn't a disconnect or anything like that, but wow, not ideal to say the least. But that's racing, isn't it, Paul? We've both seen drivers go through hardships in events, and that's one of those things. It doesn't really escape you in the sim world either, does it? There's still the same challenges.
Yep, exactly. And I'm also on the same topic of track limits. I'm just looking at the timing screen for Bonsignore. He's got a few laps where they have been invalidated, so I dare say that drive-through penalty could well be exactly that same reason, track limits. We'll find out when the stewards post a notification message if it's for some unforeseen dramas, but Bonsignore makes the most rookie of rookie mistakes at Spa-Francorchamps, and a drive-through penalty. In fact, it's a drive-through actually for contact, causing a collision between cars 24 and himself, car number 7. 24, of course, being the car of Grillo. So not quite sure what went on there, don't recall that one, but the price is a high one to pay for Bonsignore.
That would have been coming out of La Source. Remember, he turned Grillo around heading down the hill in front of the field, and Grillo had to sort of try and make hay while the sun shines after that. So that would have been the one. He lifted the back end of the car in front of him, because while these things have really beefy diffusers and a lot of aerodynamics on them, it's very easy for the low, sharp nose of the car behind to just scoop those rear wheels off the ground and all of a sudden you'll be facing the wall and in the barrier. And to be fair, the way that Grillo spun around down there, and he did bounce off the wall a little bit, he managed to get away with it without any serious damage, to be fair. He's down in 11th place. It's damaged his race, but in terms of the car, he's still been able to push on as hard as possible. Here's Francesco Farina, car 13, unlucky for some, but he's actually higher than where he qualified in this current state of the race, as he's also getting a free drifting demonstration there from Meckelholt, who flings the car completely sideways through what I call the Piff-Paff chicane still, Paul. Yep. It's always been known as Piff-Paff to me. I hate when circuits change their corner names so much, but that's not an easy place to save the car, really, because even if you do save it and you've overheated the rears, you've then got a weight transfer as the car has to go in the other direction, haven't you?
Of course, there's 25 minutes left in the race as well. You've got a very worn set of tyres on board that machine as well, so you're really fighting all of the elements while trying to minimise your time loss as well for good measure. So big task in order to keep the car on the black stuff, and Meckelholt did a reasonably decent job as both drivers go very deep into the bus stop. That allows Alfano to get himself a little bit involved in this particular squabble. Now Bonsignori in fourth, drive-through penalty is going to be out of the equation in the non-too-distant future. So as you say, that moves up Paghiai into fourth place, Tasker into fifth, and Meckelholt into sixth. So they're very much on a charge for the qualifying places. Not so much, though, for this little squabble further down the running order. And I do think that was going to end in tears, but just about got away with it. And let's remember, the Juwansi, has a drive-through penalty as well that he's going to need to serve pretty quick. 10-second penalty, my mistake, that he's going to add added to the end of his race time and check the flag.
Yeah, there was all chance there that the two cars were just going to have what you can have very easily on a set of Corsa Competizione, and just have that tiny little knock at slow speed. And these cars are so clumsy at low speed, you know. You can just have a little touch, and if it upsets it, it will rotate on its own axis faster than you could say Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo Evo 2. And before you know it, your race is ruined and you're completely backwards.
Do you say that 3 times in the mirror and one appears? Because that would go down an absolute tree with me if that was the case.
I mean, I'd love that. I would absolutely love that. I'd hope it just wouldn't appear where I'm stood, though, or it would make a bit of a mess of the room. So
I don't matter, it's still better than my desk and rig, so that'll be fine.
I've spent a long time setting these screens up, Paul.
Indeed.
Oh, well, to be fair, I'll do it in my bedroom. The builder's put a hole in my bedroom wall recently, so it'll be better if it had a Lamborghini through it. But anyway,
we've got Tasker all over the back of Paghiai here. Really, really close stuff between these two. And again, this is one of those opportunities, isn't it, Paul? They may be 8 seconds off the back of Bonsignore, but let's not forget he's got a drive-through. These guys know that they're going to be fighting over that last position to go through now in fourth place. So they have to go for it here before Bonsignore serves that drive-through.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Chaz, and exactly right, folks at home. 5th and 6th on track as things stand, but this is for 4th position net by the time Bonsignore, which he does now, serve his drive-through penalty. So this, folks, is the fight for the last entry ticket to the grand finale at Jerez in November. This means more than any overtake this drivers have ever done before, sideways almost through La Source. Just about enough room given by Paghiai, so good driving from the Italian driver there to give racing room to Thomas Tasker. Tasker now, will he keep it pinned all the way up on Rouge? This is your best opportunity. Follow as close as you possibly can with the grip available to you over the top of the hill for the run down to Le Combe. This is the big chance now, Chaz, to get over, to leverage this drag for a run into the top 4.
Yeah, this is the moment, isn't it? This is where they've got to absolutely go for it and try and get whatever they can out of each of their cars. Really try and wring their necks, and you could see a little bit of a twitch over the top of the hill from Tasker. I think Paghiai was trying to send a bit of a message at La Source, because at the end of the day, Tasker put his nose down the inside. Paghiai knew that he was going to back out of it, or he put him in a situation anyway where he had to back out of it. And Paghiai just cut across the nose of him, went to the apex as if he wasn't there. He said, look, I'm not getting fazed by you. He says, you need to really work harder than that if you're going to get past me. It's all about body language with these cars, especially when you're in the same machine as well, because as a driver, you can relate to what the other competitor that you're racing with is doing with that car. So all he's doing is sending messages, sending mental games his way, and this battle is going to get more and more spicy as the moves keep coming. It's clear that Tasker is quicker overall than Pagliai right now with how the race stands, but Pagliai is putting in a great bit of defensive driving.
Yeah, really nice bit of driving. You've seen in your timing screens, by the way, that Senatore served that drive through penalty and then went into retirement and left the race. So my advice to you, Senatore, leaving early is not a good look. I wouldn't do that again if I was you. 20 minutes though and 55 seconds left on the clock, and this is a good race between 4th and 5th position. Thomas Tasker though does look like he's got a car that seems a bit more willing, Chaz, to push its way across this racetrack. So I think Tasker will be fairly confident in his speed as he goes into the bus stop chicane. Fairly confident the racing room will be given to him, and it just about is. The outside line though, nothing doing there. Tasker put every ounce of responsibility for not having a crash on Pagliai ahead, and that's some good driving from Pagliai to not have a bit of a shunt between those two.
And again, that's one of those moments where if the right people are watching and keeping an eye on this race, they'll go, did you see what that guy did there? Like the awareness of that situation. That's what you're selling yourself, aren't you? It's like you said, shop window. I kept forgetting what the phrase was. You mentioned it. It's a massive Spa-Francorchamps shaped shop window. Flipping out, that's a mouthful. I didn't plan that one ahead of time. But it really is. And it's little moments like that. Even if that doesn't win you the race, even if that doesn't win you a position in the grand final, the team will look at that and they'll go, that's good. That's a mark.
Yes.
Not against him, sorry, mark for him. You know, they'll be ticking the list and they'll be going, good awareness, or however you say that in Italian. I imagine it sounds cooler in Italian as well. But yeah, brilliant bit of driving that, and it's those little things that can add up. We've got a hell of an add up going on here, haven't we? Colocci chasing Alfano, Farina and Meckelholt. God, that sounds good, doesn't it? That's a racing driver list for you.
It really does, actually. That's a really nice. In fact, there is a mistake for Alfano, so that allows to Colocci to get through. So good pass there from Colocci. Easy manoeuvre, exactly what he needs. 19 minutes left on the clock. Still a couple of cars to clear, and still a bit of a hope of some good luck at the fair wind ahead to leverage various penalties that are coming in thick and fast. The latest of which is a 15-second for Farina for causing a collision on lap 2 with car number 10. So if you're the likes of David Colocci, or if you're the likes of Alfano, Tasker, etc., you've still got an opportunity, even if you don't pass anybody in front of you, because mistakes and penalties are creeping in with 18.5 minutes on the clock. Not over yet, my friends.
No, absolutely not. I still can't believe that we're over 40 minutes of the way through this race, though. That has
Do you know,
flown
honestly,
by.
I don't know how this happens every single time.
No, and this is the thing. I mean, you know, we admitted at Imola last time there was a bit of a stale part of the race in the middle where everybody got into a rhythm and everyone just tried to assess where they were and who they're going to be battling against, and it went a little bit quiet, and all of a sudden there was 5 minutes left, and Tasker's driving like there's 5 minutes left. Great move around the outside there. Is he going to get given the room? He absolutely is. But once again, Pagliai putting the car in the right place at the right time. Meckelholtz had a drama in the background, but Pagliai defending brilliantly there. Oh, it looks like the Frecce Tricolori flying down the start-finish straight there. Colocci now ahead of Alfano, and then Grillo's in there as well. Behind him is Farina and Bevke. That is the number 17 machine of Alfano actually losing out to Grillo. And then behind the pair of them is Bevke. So yeah, they're all over the place, those lot, constantly swapping positions. But this battle here for the final qualification spot, oh so important right now as Tasker chases down Pagliai.
Yes, and on to these two that we're speaking of now. If either of you guys end up watching this broadcast back after you've finished your racing endeavours, big shout out to both of you, to Tasker and to Pagliai. Incredibly hard and fast racing. I come to expect that one. That doesn't impress me because I see it all the time. But fair and clean racing. Exceptional stuff from both of those drivers. And no matter which of them, if either of them, make it through, they can both hold the head high. And I'm sure people at Lamborghini and around the world notice that as well. That's some really smart, clean and good driving from both drivers. And there's still 16, 17 minutes left to bring that particular fight to the conclusion. But lovely stuff, Chaz. And it's really nice to see that level of quality on show for our audiences at home as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. It's not just for the sake of the drivers, you know, that they're putting in a good stint like this, but they're not just selling themselves here to the actual team, but they're selling themselves to everybody watching. because it could well be that at some point, some of these drivers may not be in an esports team of any respect, whether it be a team for fun or whether it be a team that competes in serious leagues, but they'll pop themselves into contention for a seat anywhere. People will see this and go, you know what, we could offer them a seat, they could do all right with us. And it's just watching one race like this that can change that all the time. So we'll keep our eye on both these drivers, regardless of what they do. But Tasker all over the back of Pagliai here, making it very clear that he's got the pace advantage, but Pagliai, in terms of his car positioning and his composure at defending this position, is just spot on.
Yeah, it's fabulous stuff. I really do love to see this kind of racing. Yes, they're not swapping positions every 5 minutes, these two, but the precision and quality that we're seeing on our screens right here and now is actually something wonderful to behold. Thomas Tasker, though, I think is maybe needs to start thinking of what plan B, C, D and E might look like for this overtake, because all the obvious ones, as you've rightly said, Chaz, Pagliai ahead, he's got the line covered on every opportunity. He's given him no sniff of anything whatsoever. So Tasker got to surprise his rival. And if the, 45 minutes of racing that we've seen up to press is anything to go by, you're going to have to get up very early to find a way past that yellow Lambo. He's got to do it, because 5th position is first of those that go home with absolutely squat diddly and no entrance to the grand finale.
Yeah, indeed, that's the thing. It's hard to come away from an event like this as well. And let's not forget that the drivers that don't make it through in this event, it's going to be mighty hard for them to hit the reset button and start again, because mentally you have to go, right, I've not done it this time, let's do it again. You've got to still qualify first before you then go into the next race and then get the job done there. Some of the guys that have done the real hard yards in this competition are the ones that have been in all 4 qualifying hot stint competitions, made it into all 4 races and still not got through, or got through in the final round. It really does tick down the clock on you. And we saw drivers do it last season, didn't we, Paul? I think there was a driver that was in all 4 of the qualifying races and was 5th in the last one or something like that. Like, it couldn't have been closer. And still, they come away with it without gaining anything from the competition in terms of a prize. Anyway, they gain the experience and racing against this level of drivers. But it's got to be so difficult mentally, hasn't it?
Oh, incredibly difficult, and that's what separates the difference between the merely good and the absolutely great, is that mental resilience, that ability to go and go and go and go again. As we see Thomas Tasker going and going and going and going again, but can he get it done? This time, it's the bus stop chicane. As per usual, there's going to be the scene of the incident. Tasker looks to the inside, looks to the outside. Absolutely no opportunity. Pagliai, though, great bit of driving, doesn't defend fresh air, as David Kalakce goes through fresh air and takes the position away. So Kalakce up into 6th place. Good pass on Meckelholt. And again, Tasker having another look. This was the plan C that we talked about, through the La Source hairpin. Both cars just about avoid doing anything more than a slight Criolla on each other's door. No harm, no foul on that one. And then the drag up to Eau Rouge. Tasker has the outside line. This is going to be brave to go side by side, boys. Very nicely done. Don't cut away. No.
Oh, Ryan. What are you doing to us, Ryan?
Again. Still sideways. And Tasker gets the task completed, makes the move. But Pagliai, Chaz, immediately on the rebound.
Well, I think now we know who was the director at Monaco a few years ago. It was Ryan, wasn't it? It's Tasker trying to somehow hold on here. So, Pagliai gives him a bit of a shove this way, then the other. That's rough and tough stuff. That's touring car racing between these two. And somehow, Pagliai still in front after all of that. And somehow, hats off to them, they're both still pointing in the right direction and still in the race. That was excellent, excellent stuff, boys. Take a bow.
Really, really tremendous stuff. I think Thomas Tasker had a little moment on the straight to be able to do a little fist pump to himself, saying, I finally got it. And that was the distraction that allowed Pagliai straight back through again. But sensational driving. Please, folks at home, remember, this is not just good racing for 4th position. This is racing for the final entry of this particular event to get to the grand finale, as Tasker throws it down the inside. That was the move that he was wanting to try. That is the end result. Big fail there for Thomas Tasker. He had to give it a go. He had to take a chance. But with 11 minutes and 44 seconds left on the clock, did he rolled the dice a little bit earlier than he needed to, and Thomas Tasker, after all of the praise from Chaz Draycott and myself, Paul Jeffrey, in the box, unfortunately sets off again a forlorn 10th position.
I was going to say, I thought you were throwing me under the bus then, Paul. It's like, yeah, you see, it's because Chaz praised him. That's all. It's Chaz's commentator's curse, not mine. Yeah, that's a real shame to see that, though. Real shame. But it happens. You have to go for these moves, and sometimes it doesn't always pay off. And I'm afraid in this scenario, well, he could technically say he's gone from a non-qualifying position to a further away non-qualifying position, but that will not sit well at all. Like our commentary colleague David Addison once said, that will go down like a cup of cold sick with him, and that will really not sit right. But it's part and parcel of these events. It's the pressure that they're under, isn't it? They feel like they have the pressure on them to make those moves and to try and do that rather than just sit behind the driver in front. You have to make the positions to get through at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course, and I will say completely to him, head held very firmly high, my friend, after that one. It was still a great race. It didn't work out for you at the end, but he pushed and pushed, put a great show on, and sadly, as I say, it's not on this occasion, but I dare say that experience and skill that he's put together will certainly help him further down the road, although I can't see him on the timing streams. Where's he gone?
He's gone down to 16th place on my timing, but I think...
If he's left the server early, then scratch everything I've just said. But so,
yeah, if that's a rage quit, that's a rage quit. I think it's showing on the timing screen on the map that I have that he's on the start-finish straight, but not in the pits, which is a weird one.
We'll come back to that one a
yeah,
bit later on. Anyway,
we'll find
it's
him
not too
somewhere.
much of a problem. But Tim Mickelholt, we don't need to worry where he is because we can see him on screen, and he's now 6th after all these dramas. But look ahead of him, David Kolachai. We said he had contact, he dropped outside of the top 10, he was involved in all kinds of tomfoolery. He was one of the 15 cars spread across the racetrack trying to nibble his way past everybody. And when the dust settles, 5th position thus far, only needs one thing to go wrong for somebody ahead. And all of a sudden, my friend, go pick your flight out because you're off to Jerez.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's considering the dramas that both of these guys have had, the fact that they're right up there battling for these spots is brilliant. Really shows the determination, and we mentioned it a few times tonight with drivers that may have, we call it rage quitting, don't we? They may have left early. It doesn't reflect well on you if you just give up at the slightest inconvenience, or if there's a small issue. You've got to be in it to win it at the end of the day, and you've still got to push on. We don't look at it very kindly when people quit early like that. These drivers have had their own dramas and have pushed on at the end of the day, and look where they are now. All it takes is for one drama in front of them to open up that position. Pagliai could still have a drama in the late stages. Personi, even Seminara or Tiskovic could all have issues in this last 10 minutes. And before you know it, Kolachai and Meckelholt could be celebrating tonight because they'll have made it through.
Exactly. It's not over until it's over, and often it's not even over then until a couple of hours after the event's finished. But all our drivers don't need to worry too much
it's
about
not Formula
One.
One, Paul. Christ.
I know exactly. I was just going to say it's not that sport with open wheels. This is we do it properly here. And Tim Meckelholt, 6th position, is certainly doing it properly. We're looking now at Dino Picconi in the number 14. 13th on the racetrack. First time we've seen him in the race. Having a nice little squabble, trying to go 3 wide at the bus stop. You know what they say about buses, you wait for ages for one. 3 come along at once. Well, there's been plenty of 3 wide action so far in this race. But Chaz.
What?
Mateus Tiskovic, have yourself 15 seconds sunshine added towards your race. That's what we were saying about things changing a heartbeat. It's not going to change nothing really as things stand at the top of the field. But that's a big stressor for Mateus Tiskovic, and that, I dare say, will be for the shenanigans at the start of the race.
Yes, absolutely. I think maybe the, what would it have been, lap 3 or 4 when he turned Seminara around down the hill. But there we go, Ryan confirming lap 5, so of course I got it wrong. But, I mean, to be fair, still the fact that Seminara had that spin, and look, he's now potentially, 0.3 of a second off a race-winning position. Again, in it to win it, you've got to carry on. We may have... Oh, hello. Oh, no. That did not need to happen.
So
was that Bonsignore? Bonsignore, that was just having a little bit of a touch on the exit of Les Combes. I think maybe the driver in front just... Or is that... No, was that Kasperik? Was that Kasperik that eventually turned Bonsignore around? I can't quite see the number on the side of the car, unfortunately. But, yeah, I think it was just... a bit of a check-up on the exit, maybe a bit of a slide. They had to get out the throttle, maybe even get on the brakes, and all of a sudden not able to react in time. But yeah, what I was going to say before that happened, and before I made silly noises, was that the drivers that are making this through into the top 4 here, we could have 2 or 3 of them that have all had spins and drama and contact in their own respective race, and they've just fought another day and carried on. This could be a real exemplary night for the Real Race Super Trofeo Esports.
Yeah, it really is. Been great racing throughout the field. Everybody who makes the checkered flag, irrespective of the position in which they cross the line, has done themselves a very, very good show over the course of this last hour. Well, it will be an hour in 6 minutes' time worth of racing. Tim Meckelholt, that we're looking at now, car number 9. That means he was 9th quickest in the hot stint qualification session. He's now up in at 6th, but he's getting some massive pressure from Grillo behind. Grillo has been involved in all of the excitement, it seems, over the course of this race, and now he has the outside line for the run down. Gets the job done, in fact, before we even get into the braking zone of Lacombe. And that's a very, very straightforward pass for Drillo. Does well to spot his marks. Pretty much stays within the confines of the racing line. And up to 6th position he goes. Meckelholt now has a bit of a job on his hands in the next 5.5 minutes to liberate that place back away from Drillo. Why do they want to do that one? Because that's 6th and 7th. They're only 2 away from a qualification spot, and absolutely anything can happen further up the field. You want to be the man in prime position, don't you, Chaz? You don't want to be Tim Meckelholt and think, I'll let him pass, it's only 6th and 7th, and then all of a sudden 2 cars disappear, and that one decision is the difference between qualifying and not.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Grillo's another one as well, that he's been through the wars in this race. He's always been in the battles and stuck around other drivers, but let's not forget, he's the one wearing that number 24 on his car. He was the last qualifier to get through from the cutoff into this event. And he's really proved himself in this one, you know, up into 6th position based on the sort of relative seeding of each of these places. Grillo has been really determined, so I've been impressed by him in this one. I've been really impressed by Pagliai as well. That defensive driving that he had was just awesome against Tasca, and I think if Pagliai gets through here, not that any of them, you know, we're not picking favourites up here in the commentary box and saying any of them deserve it more than others, but based on tonight's performance, I think Pagliai, out of those 4, has had to fight off so much more than some of the others, really. Seminara, true, with the spin and their contact on lap 1, he's had to go through it, but yeah, Pagliai's defence before was amazing. One of the highlights of the race for me.
I thoroughly agree with you, Chaz, to be fair. Really impressive driving that he had earlier in the race. Very nice and clean between himself and, I'm trying to think who it was now. Tasca, wasn't it? Thomas Tasca, they were racing together. Really nice stuff, and hopefully for Pagliai's sake at least, that translates into a qualification spot. Seminara, by the way, is just half a second outside of that 15-second window he needs to get the overall race victory. So Seminara still hard on the charge for a win. Maybe not on the track, but certainly in time-corrected times.
Yeah, indeed. I think, to be fair, Seminara, he's flirting with that 15-second gap, isn't he? It's been just underneath it. It's been just over it. If he can just keep the speed there for those last few laps of this race, I mean, to be fair, it's 3 minutes, so it's probably only 1 lap now in Spa because it's a mighty long circuit. We've probably got this lap that they're going on to now and then 1 more here in this race, and I can't believe how quickly that's come around. But there is Seminara, who at the moment will still finish in 2nd place. Let's see what the gap comes through to now as he triggers the next timing beam. It was 15.5 seconds earlier. Let's not forget that if you need me to do the maths for you, I probably won't. No, I'm joking. We'll do anything under the... Well, it'd be great if I could speak English to go with the maths, wouldn't it, Paul? Anything under 15 seconds will give him the win. That won't. 15.6 seconds is not enough. However, Tiskovic will still finish in 2nd place, even if Seminara is less than 15. Come on, Chaz. 15 seconds behind. You can tell why I'm not a mathematician, Paul. Flipping heck. I always miscalculate my fuel in the car as well when I'm racing. Funny that, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why we go. Cars go happening, excitement loud.
Yeah, brum, brum.
Yay!
Yay.
But Tiskovic, by the way, he squeezed another 1/10 of a second in that sector. So it's
He
a
did.
6 and 8/10 of a second difference between the two. So Seminara, what do you do, Chaz? What do you do?
Floor
I know
it.
it's only a second, but do you? Or do you just bank what you've got? Seminara's dropped another 3/10.
I think at this point, if Seminara is losing those 1/10 of a second every couple of corners, I think if you're him, it's only about bragging rights now, the win. You could push the car too hard. You could make a mistake in this late stage. You've got 5 seconds over Personi. Don't push it. Don't push it. You're through regardless. To reiterate to everybody at home, if you're in that top 4, the position in those top 4 spots does not matter. It's you know, 4th is the same as 1st in this race. It's just bragging rights and, well, an interview for the race winner. That's literally the only difference here. It doesn't give you an advantage for the later rounds or anything, does it, Paul? It doesn't change anything further down the line.
Exactly. And the question I suppose I've got, Chaz, is do you even really care about taking the win if it's because of a time penalty for the car that crossed the line first? A win is the first to cross the line. Yes, when there's points involved, it's different, but a one-off like this, will Seminara even be that bothered about taking a time-correct victory? Or would you be if you were in that boat?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't. No.
Oh, hello.
Oh, we're so northern, aren't we?
Jacob Janowski went to the north somewhat. We decided he doesn't fancy this one bit.
No. We literally just say the same thing. Just, oh, hello.
But here's a little bit of insight, actually, that we just had whispered into our ears from our race director, Ryan. Tiskovic can't afford to slow down to wind the clock down so he doesn't have to do another lap. He's got to go at it hammer and tongs because he's protecting the 15-second deficit to the car behind. So Matthias Tiskovic, with 10 seconds at the apex of the bus stop chicane, much unfortunateness for him, he's probably going to break the timing beam to have to do another lap. Oh!
No.
Now, the thing is here, Paul, on top of this, are there any drivers? Because let's not forget, it's an open setup for the drivers here. They get to fettle the car to how they want to drive it and what they want to set it up for. Will they have calculated enough fuel? Because it's a long, old lap here at Spa-Francorchamps. 7 kilometres is a lot more fuel. So, you know, if you have to do the extra lap compared to what you thought you were going to do. Ooh, yeah. These guys, yeah, as Ryan has just pointed out, yeah, well, Kolochai's going to have the run around the outside here and coming on to the final lap. That would have been the last corner if it wouldn't have been for Tiskovic. Can you believe that? I tell you what, Pagliai will be really glad that wasn't the last corner now, and Grillo wants a piece of this as well. He looks down the inside into La Source. Suddenly Pagliai finds himself in 6th. Suddenly they find themselves 3 wide down towards Eau Rouge. I'm going to close my eyes because, oh my goodness me,
how has Pagliai come back out in front, Paul?
Good Lord, this is sensational stuff. The last time for the run up to Eau Rouge, Kolochai thought he got the deal done. Then he has to use the escape road as it gets a little bit squirrely between himself and Grillo. Everybody survives for the long run down now into the Com. This is one of your best overtaking manoeuvres. Pagliai at the front of the field is as vulnerable as it gets to the slipstream behind. He puts the car in the middle of the track, doesn't really have any other choices. Grillo decides to go very deep indeed. He's cut that one far too hard. Grillo drops to the back of this pack. Kolochai desperately cannot find a space. He wishes he was anywhere but where he is at this moment in time. He has the inside through Bruxelles and gets the job done. But Kolochai, he's got a big opportunity, Chaz, but a whole lot of danger around him as well.
Meckelholt, oh no, Meckelholt's just lost the back end. That's the commentator's curse before I've even said anything, Tim. Flipping X sunshine. I was just about to say that Meckelholt's in with a chance here of gaining an extra place, but this guy doesn't need an extra place here. Needs no introduction, Paul. He's done an absolutely wondrous job this evening. He had everything thrown at him, but Tiskovic is going to get the job done.
Here we go then to the final corner on the loud pedal for the very final time. Matthias Tiskovic has converted a performance into a race victory to win the second qualification race of the real race. Super Trofeo here, Esports, here at one of the finest racetracks in all of Europe, Spa-Francorchamps. But further back, David Kolochai for the last place in the qualification race, 4th position for the golden ticket. Can Kolochai do it, Chaz, in his last 2 corners?
We'll have to wait and see whether he can just send it up the inside or not. Pagliai is going to defend this really well. He's done it multiple times before. Kolotchai is going to have to go to the outside, try and make it the inside. Pagliai is going to park it across the first apex, put it on the inside. Kolotchai is going to try and squeeze him around the outside, though. Can he get the run? Because Pagliai's had to straighten it up. Kolotchai is going to do it. Kolotchai gets it. 4th position by 41 thousandths of a second. You could argue the contact on the exit caused that, but I tell you what, it was all down to the outer line and the run. Pagliai's thrown it in the wall in frustration, but oh my word, what a finish to the race that was. Great stuff by David Kolotchai. It's a name that we've said that we've seen before at Imola and in this competition previously. He gets the job done and he will go through. Wow.
Yeah, that was sensational. We remarked about David Kolotchai's car control, car placement and racecraft already over the course of this race, over the course of this broadcast, and then with the most pressure you could ever possibly wish to have on your shoulders. Far more pressure than the guys that finish first, second and third, because all they can do is improve their lot. They're still going through. Doesn't matter. Kolotchai went from I'm going to make it to I'm not going to make it to I'm going to make it again. And he did the deal done. Absolutely beautiful from David Kolotchai. Wonderful car placement. And a big bit of credit, Chaz, as well, of course, to... I forgot who he was racing with. Yeah, Tommaso Pagliai, for not being tempted just to force him onto the curbs or just force him onto the sleeping policeman. Everything to play for, and he still kept it fair. Well done.
I was going to say, Paul, I'm sure we've both seen a few drivers before in league racing that would have just right-hand downed him then and put him in the scenery, to be fair. But,
me being one of them.
I wasn't going to say anything, Paul. But no, I'm joking. It was great respect all the way through. You know, we saw some brilliant racing in that. At the end of the day, everybody's only human. You know, we've seen some mistakes tonight where drivers have run wide, they've slipped slightly into each other or caused a bit of contact here and there, misjudged the gap slightly, but that was just awesome racing throughout. Really, really key event here tonight. And I think, to be honest, that this one of the best races that we've had in the competition over the last few seasons. We've got some highlights on screen now with this beautiful, colourful grid of Lamborghini Super Trofeo Huracan Evo 2s, and once again, we have been treated to a real barnstormer that was, well, as you said before, not over until it was over, Paul.
Yep, literally not over till it's over on this one. So here we go. A few highlights from the start of the race. It got a little bit spicy at the front of the field, it has to be said. A little bit further back as well, there was mild contact between a few of the cars, as you get in pack racing in the opening few laps, but the main players managed to stay out of trouble for the first few corners, Chaz, at least.
Yeah, indeed, that's the thing. It's all about staying out of trouble for as long as you can. You can see a bit of the shenanigans further down. Everybody trying to avoid everybody. Oh, a bit of a shimmy there. That was the number 20 machine that had the drive-through penalty in the opening lap for that. It's a shame that it happened, but it's one of those things. There's always a bit of a sort of check-up into there. Look at that through Eau Rouge and Radion. Number 21 being spun around there at the very first opportunity of the race. So many great moves going on though, and lots of slipstreaming as well. That's something we didn't really touch on tonight. Spa-Francorchamps sort of owes itself, Chaz, come on, words, to slipstreaming. There's a lot of opportunities to slipstream each other, and main one being the Kemmel Straight that we see there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a really busy point of the racetrack as the Kemmel Straight and then down into the Lecombe section of corners. Also here at the bus stop chicane, that's the 23 of Senatore, retired from the race early on with a few bits of dramas. Down into the La Source hairpin, Senatore gets a little bit aggressive, it has to be said, to the rear quarter of a couple of the cars ahead. No problems on that particular occasion. Then, of course, through further into the lap, we saw many drivers looking for opportunities. Kolotchai being one of them, always in the heat of the battle, does a good job to put the car in the right place at the right time. But the bus stop chicane, Jazz, is where all the fun can be found over the course of this race, it seems.
Yeah, definitely. There was so much going on. And the thing is, Spa has got so many corners and opportunities for overtaking and even just a bit of mind games. You know, we saw a few drivers playing with it, didn't we, over the course of that run, where they would not necessarily always go for a move, but they'd just put their nose down the inside, just fill the mirrors, just say to the driver ahead, look, here we go, have a bit of this. You know, what do you think of this? Just offering each other up the body language from one car to the next. So, yeah, really, really enjoyed that one.
Absolutely superb stuff. And now, speaking of things to really enjoy, Mateus Tiskovic is with us. Mateus, congratulations! That was a good win. How does it feel, man?
It it feels really great, but on the other hand, like, I'm a little bit unhappy about the way I gained the P1 in this race. Like, I was ready fight with Simone, but like things went a little bit weird. Like, this accident between us was a little bit nasty because the tap was very small. Like, it was very light. I didn't have any damage in the car, but he just skyrocketed into the grass. I'm really sorry for that. I apologize him for that because it was on me.
Yep, it's a shame, but of course you got the time penalty, 15 seconds from race control. How difficult was it to manage your pace, to maintain that gap towards the end of the race?
To be honest, I was pretty sure that I would get the penalty for that. I just didn't know how severe it would be. So yeah, I had to push at the end of the race because I saw Simone was pretty close. And I think in terms of pure pace, I just defended myself in a very good way.
Well, I think the race from yourself was absolutely fantastic. What I want to ask you though, I know your name, I've seen you racing in many different things. How much does it mean to you to have secured your place in the final at the Real Race Super Trofeo Esports?
Honestly, I'm really happy for that. Like, this year is, in terms of sim racing, is not the easiest, I would say, for me. Like, it was pretty harsh, but yeah, like, today is the first day of summer, and yeah, I'm apart from that, there is another very good news. I'm really happy to go to Spain.
Brilliant. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing you over there and seeing how you progress. Matis Tiskovic, what a drive, my friend. Very, very well done. Go and enjoy the first day of summer in style.
Yeah, I will go cycling probably now. So thank you very much.
I can tell you don't live in England because it's raining where I am. So congratulations, really good performance, beautiful stuff.
Thank you very much.
There we go then, that is our race winner. Despite a 15-second time penalty, Matthias Tiskovic takes the checkered flag, and Chaz Draycott, great driver, great performance, and he's got that ticket, which we don't show favourites, but how fast he is and how fast he's been for so long, is a man who deserves his reward today.
Yeah, like we said, you know, he's a driver that needs no introduction. We've seen him on our screens before, whether it be in SRO Esports or other competitions and leagues here on Assetto Corsa Competizione. Certainly somebody that's made his mark, and now he's done that in this competition as well. He's stamped his ticket through. He joined Seminara Personi as well. Personi had a really under-the-radar race. It was like he was barely there, to be honest. But then Kolotchai as well, just grabbing it on the line. That was one of the battles of the race, that. And we have to tip our hats to Pagliai, because I've not seen a driver have to defend that hard for positions all the way through before. And to be honest, the fact that he didn't make it through is actually quite heart-wrenching. Really, really do feel for him in that situation. But he'll come back again, I'm sure, and we'll see him in another race in this competition to give it another go.
So then, folks at home, you've enjoyed a good race. You've enjoyed the banter between Chaz and I. Yeah. And you've now think to yourself, I wouldn't mind a go of this. How do I get involved? Well, you can. Assetto Corsa Competizione opens on the 3rd of July. It's the hot stint for the Red Bull Ring. Get out there, qualifying game. If you're one of the quickest, you can go into this race on July the 18th. The Red Bull Ring in the Lamborghinis to fight for a place in the Real Race Super Trofeo Esports Grand Finale. Chaz, big opportunity for somebody out there. Could be watching this at home now in the boxer shorts with a cup of tea in the hand. And then next time around in July, they could be fighting for the biggest prize you can get.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. And again, we highlight that sim racing is so inclusive. You know, everybody can give it a go. If you've got the right kit and you get involved in this, you never know what your pace could be like relative to the other drivers. If you think you're quite handy on Assetto Corsa Competizione, it's worth giving it a go. Just put some laps in. You may as well enter. What have you got to lose by trying it? You never know. You could end up just qualifying in 24th. You could end up getting through into the top 10. It's going to be brilliant. Brilliant stuff to see. And to be honest, Red Bull Ring is one of my favourite circuits in the world. Absolutely love the place. Beautifully located in Spielberg in Austria. I think it's just going to be a great round of the championship. And again, I think we're going to see some brilliant slipstreaming there, actually, Paul. That's another circuit where that's going to be a key point. Very different to Spa-Francorchamps. There's only 7 corners. I think we're in for a real treat.
Yep, cannot wait. So, folks at home, thank you for watching. From myself, Paul Jeffrey, my colleague Chaz Draycott, from Moser Racing, aka Esports, Assetto Corsa Competizione, and of course, Lamborghini Squadra Corsa. Thank you for watching. Take care for everybody. Until next time, bye-bye.